Welcome back, folks, to another episode of Jamin's Daily Warhammer Book Review. Just finished Ghazghkull Thraka, Prophet of the Waaagh. Amazing book. Super fun. It's just fun to say the title of this book. Ghazghkull Thraka, Prophet of the Waaagh. It's funny, if you're talking to your friends, maybe some of these people that tell you how they're reading a self-help business book or maybe some type of fantasy novel, and they give you the title, and then you tell them, well, I'm reading a book too. And they're like, oh yeah, what are you reading? I'm reading a book. It's about a space orc. His name's Ghazghkull Thraka, and he's the prophet of Waaagh. They might look at you a little strange, but who cares? You know why? Because this book is super good. I enjoyed it thoroughly. It's a page turner, okay? So there are Warhammer books that are 400 pages, or Warhammer stories, okay, a novel 400 pages. There are some that are longer. There's some that are shorter. You have whole omnibuses with multiple stories, short stories, things in it, big old thick books, and then you have a book like this, very manageable. It's super easy to read because it just fits in your hand easier. You can carry this around, and I did, and I read it in 3 days, and it's written differently. It uses, and you have to read the book for yourself to see it. I'm not going to get into it that deeply, folks, but the way the book is edited, and the way they use different types of stylization within the editing, and the way the book is written to signify who's talking and how it's being spoken, and the voices of gods and this and that, it makes it easier to read. And it's just a cool way to read a book like that, because it's different than when you read just other novels, I guess. So I would highly recommend, if you're into Warhammer, if you're trying to read or get a better feel of orcs and their mentality and what they got going on, other than just always the enemy, the combatant, something that the Emperor of Mankind and his forces are fighting, right? This gives a little bit more, some more flavor to the character, right? And I'm sure there are other books about other orcs and things, but this was the first one that I have read to help expand my knowledge of the Warhammer universe. And if you want to know more about orcs, I can't recommend this book enough. You could read this in a single weekend, folks, if you have that kind of time. It's a page turner. So give it a try. Let me know what you think. Jamin's Daily, doing more Warhammer book reviews because I've just been bitten by the Warhammer bug, and I've been reading the books, and they've been extremely enjoyable. I love to read, but I was never big into fiction until I got put on Warhammer, and now I'm reading these books left and right. Highly recommend. Again, Ghazghkull Thraka, Prophet of the Waaagh. And a super quick synopsis, and a super quick summary of the book goes like this, folks, okay? An Inquisitor is given a orc in a trade by other orcs to, as a trade, and the Inquisitor takes the orc and another orc who's an interpreter for that orc, or really it's a grot. The grot allegedly it had been Ghazghkull's banner bearer, okay? And he's telling the story. This is all a retell of a grot that's being interpreted by an orc, and then as they're being interrogated by an inquisitor on a spaceship. Okay, and the story of the beginnings of Ghazghkull Thraka, according to a grot who was his banner bearer, and the journey, the fun begins. So check it out. I really liked it. The book's less than 300 pages. You can read it in a weekend, and it gives a cool perspective on orcs that I hadn't had yet reading other books in Warhammer. So check it out. One of the interesting things of this book, and a book on orcs, if you haven't read much on the orcs themselves in terms of the way they talk, right? So in this book, they're orcs in dialogue that you don't get a lot in other novels in Warhammer that at least I have read. You just hear about the orcs as an enemy that's being fought, but you don't get to hear them in dialogue. And so it's fun to read orc dialogue because of it's almost like a slang. It's the way you think some kids would text each other nowadays on how the shorthand and the way they use their language. Okay, folks. And so that was one of the things. Now I feel like if I was stranded on a planet with orcs, and I could get by. I could talk some orcish. I could get it when they're talking to me. I mean, could figure it out. So that was a uniqueness to the book, is that you get to hear orcs in dialogue that if you've read other Warhammer books, you may have not really come across. Until the next time, like, share, subscribe, folks, and I'll see you around. Stay tuned, because the best is yet to come.